Hey, Body Positive Yogis. Amber Carnes here from Body Positive Yoga, and I'm here today with the amazing Jessamyn Stanley. Jessamyn is a self-identified yoga enthusiast and fat femme, and super inspiring to the yoga Instagram community and to me personally. So I wanted to get with Jessamyn today and just have a little conversation about yoga and body image and haters online and all kinds of stuff like that. So welcome, Jessamyn.
Thank you so much for talking to me, Amber. I'm really excited. I'm also like doing that weird thing where I'm looking at you, but I'm also like just sort of whatever. I'm gonna try not to be awkward. That's where I'm going with this. Yes.
Embrace the
Hey.
awkward. I try to usually like cause awkward as quickly as possible, and then kind of puts people at ease.
I honestly think that me trying to stop it is just gonna make it even more intense. So I'm just gonna like be as flow as natural as possible. But hey, what's up? Good to talk to you. How's it going?
Sounds good. So, tell us your yoga story. How did you find yoga? How long have you been practicing, and what keeps you practicing?
Totally. I started okay. I practiced yoga for the first time when I was 16, and it was a horrible experience. I went to a Bikram yoga studio with my aunt, and she was really, really into it at the time, and she was like, "Oh, you'll really, really like this," and I just did not take to it, like the heat of the room, and I think that when you're young, you have difficulty understanding like that something difficult might be really good for you. So I just found it to be like really, really unpleasant. And I mean, one of the big things in Bikram is that you really shouldn't leave the room because your body temperature when it shifts going out of the heat can just be really intense. And I got really, really nauseous, and I was just like, I'm never doing this again. I'm done. And then when I was in graduate school, when I was 23, one of my classmates, she was like, go come to this Bikram class with me. They're doing like you can get a Groupon. It's only $30, and I was like, I'm not doing that. I already know about yoga. It's stupid. I'm not doing this. And at the time, I was going through a really difficult time. My girlfriend at the time. We were breaking up, and I was recognizing that I was just really unhappy in my graduate program, and I just needed something to distract me, but also just create like a place of really pure happiness where it wasn't related to school and it wasn't related to love. It was just like, I have this on my own. And I think for that reason, I just really took to it, like in a way that obviously I didn't before, but in a way that I'd never really taken to anything before. Like I had always wanted to be more active and had put a lot of effort into trying other kinds of sports and into like various like weight loss plans, and nothing ever really stuck for me like yoga did. And after that first month of the Groupon pass, I started doing a work study program at the studio where you could practice like I can't remember now. I guess it was like maybe 4 or 5 times a week, and in exchange for helping them to clean the studios. And so I started practicing a lot because of that, and it just became this refuge for me. Like I could go and really just put all of my energy into something and see these really positive results in myself, not in like the way that my body looked or was shaped or anything like that, but just in the in my actual human expression. Like I just felt so much more positive overall. And so, but then I ended up leaving Winston I was living in Winston-Salem at the time. I ended up leaving Winston-Salem kind of abruptly. And when I moved to Durham, where I live now, I couldn't afford to practice at the Bikram studios here because they're even more expensive. And I just basically stopped practicing for a little while. And then, I started going through some other really difficult times. My aunt passed away really unexpectedly, and then my grandmother got really sick shortly thereafter and passed away also. My my roommate, now ex-girlfriend, her brother passed away very unexpectedly. Just a lot of things happened, but during that time, it was like I need something that can ground me and center me and make sure that I don't fall off the face of the earth. And so I started practicing again at home, and it was awesome because like I always get emails from people that are like, I feel really uncomfortable in classrooms, and I'm like, dude, I get that. I was always the largest person in the classroom, and I whenever I started practicing at home, it was like, wow, I can fall down, I can fart, I can do anything at any point, and it's totally cool because this is the place where I'm safest. So I started practicing every day just so that I could. Basically, it was like free therapy. It's just like, something to keep me sane. And everything that's come after that has been kind of strange and unexpected, but mostly for me, like, as far as yoga is concerned, it's my daily therapy. That if I wasn't doing it, I don't know what I would be doing, honestly. And I can't imagine my life without it at this point. But I mean, it's just so much more than I have. What I've gotten out of it has been so much more than what I ever expected from where I started.
Yeah, I think a lot of us feel that way. It's like we come to yoga to, get more flexible or to lose weight or to whatever, and we end up in a completely different place. It kind of gives us a lot of different things. So, very cool.
Well, and the weird thing about that too is that I tried for so long to lose weight. Like it was such a huge part of my life. Like I remember when I was in college, I did Weight Watchers multiple times, and I have a lot of mixed feelings about all of these different things. And I am like I would go to the gym and just like work out so hard, and I'd be like, oh, I'm doing so much good for my body, and like nothing ever stuck. Like I couldn't. It was like it took me completely not caring about anything. Like by the time I started practicing yoga daily, I was so unconcerned about my like bodily condition. I was just like, I just need for my head to not be crazy anymore. And it was like, oh, that's when it sticks.
Yeah.
That's when you start to do something. Whenever you're not focused on it from a vanity standpoint, it's not like, oh, I have to look like this because, someone, my mom, my family, my friends, whatever, they say that I should look like that. It's like once you recognize that, actually, I just need to be okay with myself, then you can reap all kinds of other rewards. It's
Yeah,
crazy.
totally.
Anyway,
So, a lot of folks have been inspired by you being online, being visible, practicing yoga as a larger woman, as a woman of color, which, both of those body types don't get represented a lot in sort of like if you Google yoga, that's not who comes up. That's not who's going to be in the magazines or featured on the kind of top yoga websites. So, will you talk a little bit about why you think visibility of diverse bodies is important in yoga?
I would say that it's probably like one of the most important things that we can do at this point. Just being, because it's always really off-putting and confusing for me whenever I get messages from people that are like, "Wow, I didn't know that I could do yoga until I saw you." And I'm like, literally that is a problem because I am so far from the first person or even like in the first 50 people or even in the first 1000 people with different kinds of body to practice. Like there's people globally as long as we've existed, and it's like I'm thankful for the internet. I mean, I have a lot of mixed feelings about the internet in general, but I feel like I'm grateful that we finally have a platform to show people that, you know, we're like we out here for lack of a better phrase, but it's like at the same time it's just so important to be visible because otherwise there are people who will just think like I mean there's so many people who are like wow, I didn't know that a fat girl could do blah 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 blah, and I'm like, how did you not know? Like, I'm just like, what? But I mean, I get why you don't because there's so much like the media is completely saturated with these images of people who are so not the norm. Like in general, I mean, even if you go to any random yoga studio, you are not even going to see like most of the people in the room are not even going to look like the general image of yoga bodies. It's going to be like just anyone that you would see, and that's really what I'm more interested in seeing. It's like not just like larger bodied people or people of color, but just like that random, computer salesman who's like he likes to go to like Jivamukti classes at night. You know what I mean? Like that one guy who's like he's not like the most flexible person, but that is a real yoga body. I don't think there's a certain level that you need to be at before you start showcasing something. I think that just showing like your daily dedication to something that's what's inspiring to people. And if anything, I would want to encourage like people of literally every kind of physical makeup to be more visible.
Yeah, totally. I mean, I think that, one of the great things about visibility, and I also have very mixed feelings about the internet, but one of the awesome things about the internet is that, we can be our own publishers, and, the media, like
Yeah.
the man, they, the powers that be that have the power to show us images don't normally show us images of diversity. They show us things that will sell products. And so we start to see those images over and over and over again, and then we think something must be wrong with me because I don't look like that. When in actuality,
Hmm.
that doesn't represent reality. It's not diverse, and it's not, the people that you see if you Google yoga or if you open Yoga Journal. Right. Like you said, they don't look like the people that you're going to see if you walk into any normal yoga class. I've been into yoga studios. It's been older people, men who almost never shown in yoga contexts, people of
Hmm.
color, like people of all ages. It's really diverse. And I think the more we can be visible, the easier it is for folks that are interested.
Say that I feel like men really are the like the group of people that are probably shown the absolute least, and even when they are shown, it's of like pretty specific kinds of male bodies. And I'm really, really naive to the body issues that men deal with, and I'm always really like shocked by them whenever my male friends tell me like okay, for example, I have a man that I think is like very traditionally attractive. He's like very tall and lanky and white and like very slender. He has this body that I think that I would just like if I were a man, I'd be thinking like, oh, this is the man that I would want to look like. But I remember we had this really incredible conversation one time where he was talking about how he hated his body for like the vast majority of his life because he's not broad chested at all. He's so small. And he was like, I was like, why would you want to be like, I mean, like, does it matter if you're broad chested? And he was like, well, I mean, it doesn't look very manly. And I was like,
Hmm.
whoa, y'all have issues too. It's just crazy. And it's funny because they really are. I mean, like there's so many men who will be like, yeah, I practice yoga, but I can't do that because and I'm like, because what? Because we have all of these crazy ideas. I mean, just the fact that whenever you think about a yoga body, you're thinking about a female body is so intimidating to men. And it's interesting. Um, that's an area that I haven't really figured out, like how to how to how to include them in the conversation even more because I feel like that's something that really gets overlooked. It's like our emphasis on female bodies. But anyway,
So I know you've gotten some negative feedback and nasty comments about your body from time to time. How do you deal with haters on the internet?
largely I just ignore them. I just ignored them. I was made fun of so much in my youth that by this point I've recognized that like anyone who has something bad to say about my body is really just projecting stuff that they feel about themselves and they don't know how to get it out. And the internet is like the best place to do that because you literally can just say anything and no one's going to come back to you, which to me is like unbelievably cowardly because I'm thinking like, I mean, you got something to say, like say it to my face. And typically I've noticed that whenever the comments that I get that are the nastiest are on things where I'm least likely to see it. Like usually on like images on my blog or images on my Instagram. Like there are people like I'll get nasty comments sometimes, but it's usually like on something where the person is like, yeah, I can just go in on this person because if they did it really close to me, they'd be like, they would. I think that I'm radiating too much positivity for them to feel like it's appropriate. So that is my defense is to just be continuously positive because like I can't control how someone else is gonna like feel like they want to unload their bad day. Like someone had a day of someone belittling them in their personal life, and then they get home and they see a picture of this fat girl in her underwear, and they're like, "I can't believe she would think to do that. I'm just gonna do blah blah." And I'm like, you know what? Honestly, I feel bad that you felt like that was how you wanted to spend your afternoon, was like making sure that you like got out all because I'm like, how did you even have time? Like you see stuff on the internet that you don't like. I'm not like in the comment section, going in on them. I might like if I had a comment to make, I might keep it in my head and then move on with my life because
Yeah.
who's got time for that? So that mostly I ignore it because it's not worth my energy and because it's just like why would you feed into somebody else wasting their life away? It's like I
Yeah.
don't want to be a part of that. So
Totally.
I don't know. I mean, it's just so it's futile and it's futile to say anything and I don't know. It also just makes me judge people and I hate judging people, but I'm just like, oh, you're one of those.
Yeah, I
Okay.
feel you on that for sure.
Like,
You had a big feature in People Magazine, a really cool video with them recently, and they called you a yoga star. And you have a huge, social media following, which is really awesome. How do you feel about the attention that you've gotten online? Like, what's the most awesome thing about it, and like the worst thing about it?
I would say that the most awesome thing is getting to connect with other people and recognizing that like there are people who are really finding a new part of their lives that they maybe it would have taken them longer to get there had they not seen a picture of me. Like that's really awesome. I just don't ever want to become the kind of person who thinks of themselves as a yoga star. You know what I mean? Like I don't feel like that's a really healthy attitude. I don't feel like it's the purpose of my practice. I don't feel like it's helping anyone. Um I think it's fine if other people see that, but I feel like largely I just want to continue to like do my daily therapy and photograph it for the purpose of alignment and connect with other people who want to further themselves and just sort of like, you know, leave it there because otherwise it just becomes something that is not, I think is not inherently positive and I'm not about that life.
Tell us what you have coming up that you're excited about, that you want other people to know about.
Well, I think that right now I'm most excited about my teacher training. I was really apprehensive about doing teacher training before, just because there's so many teachers, and I didn't know if like my voice was something that really needed to be in a classroom environment. But I just really feel called to do it in a way that I've never really felt called to do anything else. And I'm really looking forward to like deepening my knowledge and especially in terms of like anatomy and being able to like call upon just being able to call upon a wealth of information to share with other people. I'm really looking forward to. And I do have a lot of other projects like partnerships and collaborations that are coming up, some of which I can't really talk about right now. But I think the thing that I'm most excited about is just like becoming really deeply embedded in my practice so that I can help other people in their practices. And the training is going to be a month of my life where like I'm completely uprooted from my life here in Durham and I'm going to Asheville and it's going to be I have no idea what I'm going to be like on the other end of it. Like, who knows? It might literally be a completely different person. And I'm really looking forward to that. And I'm looking forward to what that will do to my classes, like teaching especially in an online capacity. I have a lot of ideas and things in the works, and I'm excited to see what that's going to look like in the long term. And I'm excited to see what it's going to be like to to connect with people on an even deeper level than this sort of like visual call and response sort of thing. Like I'm interested in really creating a dialogue with people.
Yeah, totally. I was talking to Diane Bondi the other day about that actually, that, there's only really a handful of us that are sort of doing this type of work, visibly online. And we don't really get to talk with each other that much, which is
Yeah,
one of the reasons why I wanted to start doing these interviews because um, I feel like all of us are more than, we're bigger than the sum of our parts. And if we can build that kind of community, then, who knows what we'll do.
exactly.
So,
Because I mean, especially if you look like any kind of movement or any kind of, I mean, it takes a lot of different people coming at it from different kinds of perspectives and coming out of different, just all the different origin points binding together to really make a new movement, and I actually think that's what we're heading toward, and so I'm thrilled to just be a part of it. You know, it's just so not a one way street or even like a two-way street. It's this multi-lane highway that, I mean, I'm glad I'm on. I'm
Yeah.
glad I'm on the highway.
Yeah, definitely. What's one last parting gift, parting piece of body positive sort of advice that you would give to anyone who's watching this video?
Don't sell yourself short. And that means so many different things to me. You know, don't think that, oh, I'm going to start practicing yoga because I want to lose weight or I want to, I want my body to look like this or whatever. I think that's selling yourself short because you don't, that's sort of like a secondary thing, And then even if you go into it saying, I need to find a spiritual purpose, I need a spiritual base, that's still kind of selling yourself short. I think that if nothing else, if you've ever, just felt down about yourself, if you felt like you couldn't quite get a hold on reality or like you needed something to stabilize you, let that be the reason to practice yoga. And then everything else that comes with it, just don't expect, don't don't predetermine, just put yourself into it, your purest self into it, and you'll reap so much more than you would by selling yourself short.
Totally. Well, thank you so much for talking with us today, Jessamine.
Thank you.
We love getting to interact with you this way and not just from far across the room watching you do your amazing asana practice. But I really appreciate your time and thank you for what you're doing to help the body positive yoga movement. We love it.
Whatever. Thank you for doing everything that you do, seriously, and I hope this is the beginning of much more for all of us.
For sure. All right. Thanks a lot. I'll see you later.